Madame Death, Madame Death.
Wait for your time. I'll come without you calling me. None escape when I come for them.
Madame Death, as if I weren't immortal. We already spoken about this.
Oh, it's you, Sister Fashion. Or are you currently Lady Silk? Madness Lady of the Silkworm.
They call me the Mad Silkworm Lady. I hear they are calling you the Skeleton Harvester these days. It's been 200 years since you first embraced me as your sister.
Yes, I remember. I am who is memory's greatest enemy. We've done a lot together in the last 200 years.
Yes, we have. A Great Depression, 2 world wars, a few nuclear disasters, some space missions, and now the internet, yes.
Oh, and don't forget our collaborations in your realm. Heroin chic became corpse chic, where death was styled with the flesh of the living. I saw what you did there in my name. Well done.
Ah, yeah. So we did have fun with those models who pretended to be dead for a while.
I enjoyed that episode of, what was it called? America's Next Top Supermodel, where the judges criticised a contestant for not looking dead enough. Oh, hilarious.
Yes, almost as good as the dead parrot sketch. Humour is remarkably effective in bringing your presence to daylight among humans. We had fun for a fleeting moment, but that has since passed and is no longer the flavour of current discourse. But you, it looks like you have been embracing fashion a bit more. It looks like you've rethought your heavy black cloak outfit.
You are correct. I have had a wardrobe makeover. I've introduced some more gradients into my palette, some more in-betweenness. And you've convinced me of silk, a rather wonderful piece of natural magic. As it's also made of amino acids, it has a lovely similarity to the composition of human flesh. It makes this whole process of dress and decomposition a little more predictable. It's a bit disappointing that the vegans are up in arms about the stifling of larvae, when the cost for all life is death eventually. It's as though they've forgotten that cocoon filament outlasts the wings. And I do like the nod to myself with its name, Bombix Mori, even if it's merely incidental.
Yes, sericulture, a rather marvellous invention of humans. I can see you have many, many cocoons draped over that body. That's thousands of dead silkworms. But you know, we don't actually need to kill the little silkies. We can collaborate with them. By resurrecting an old method, I will win over the humans. Silk is not to be lost. I'm rethinking the life cycle of materials. Materials as progress in motion. I call it couture vivante, transforming back to natural cycles, which places emphasis on wearable rather than a static or finished product. But some of them think I'm mad. Yet the inherent magic of death comes to us all with a new beginning.
Well, thank you for mentioning it, and I will indeed show you a new magic trick soon. This dead body right here will dissolve and feed the plants and has all the potential to grow the food for your little silkies.
I see that you're taking some more care of the dead now. This new fashion ritual of dressing is interesting.
It's not entirely new. I can see your influence has always been present in the making of rituals to dispose of the dead. Humans have always adorned their dead, leaving grave goods for some sort of next world. Fashioning the dead provides the humans with some symbolic meaning, allowing them to live with me in their shadow, as their kin become nothing but atoms for reuse. There's certainly been some interesting new attempts to prevent decay with embalming and hermetically sealed coffins. It's cute to think that they think it's for the sake of the dead, when we both know it's entirely for the living.
What are you putting on the feet these days?
Well, you know very well my preference is for nothing on the feet. Shoes only trap the flesh, and Gaia wants it back. But, what's that you're working on? They look rather lovely.
This pair of shoes may have been used for dancing a few hours on a stage, but with you and that dead body will spend hundreds of years, far longer than this human has ever lived.
Well, I'm not normally in favour of locking up carbon like this for longer than necessary, but I've surrendered to the fact that footwear is part of identity and of fashion. But I will still always question where the dead are going to really be walking.
The true fashion of this world will never passeth away.
Well, never is only a matter of time frame. And that's what humans don't get. They cling on to forever, when forever only really needs to be as long as memory. Within that current system, the lifespan of any particular artifact as waste is usually far longer than its lifespan as a useful tool.
Perhaps the longevity will be measured by the rubbish, and in that way they will be closer to immortality.
Yes, maybe this landfill thing will become this generation's pyramids.
Well, Haraway has noted that they are living through dangerous but also generative times at the confluence of multiple and ramifying emergencies, but simultaneously living in the midst of powerful practices of collective care and refusal of death denial and transcendentalism.
Yeah, they did attempt a death acceptance movement in the 70s, but they didn't have social media then. Now, this latest cycle or fashion of death acceptance might have a greater impact. Here I'm getting levelled with life these days. That post-humanism thing's quite interesting. You know, I hear that they're calling it death positivity. Their members even wear merch to visibly communicate their values as future corpses. Most of them will forego footwear and opt for shrouds. Perhaps even simply a silk veil. You've done well, sister. Philosophers and scholars have ignored your influence from the most part of human history. But you're certainly undeniable now. What was that you said recently? That clothes can become so closely related to us, crowns them with special status over more distinct objects. That indeed they're so close to us that they can nearly dissolve our being into them. In death, it's the other way around. Our clothes dissolve through their being. And we both know that you're far more than clothes, just as I'm far more than the corpse. We both push forward with an arrow of time.
Yet so much of this culture is based on straight line. They depend on a beginning, middle and end. Hopefully more will soon remember that the natural world is based on circles and cycles.
Yes, in our world, the end is the beginning is the end.
Is the beginning, is the end, is the beginning.
The humans are trying something new called aquamation. Well, it's not entirely new, but it's new for this purpose. They're dissolving their dead, turning them to liquid. I'm fascinated with it. It is good for silk because in this process only protein can be dissolved. It certainly makes it quicker for flesh and garment to be reabsorbed into the garden. The skeleton is left behind, but what is fertilizer other than blood and bone?
Speaking of new, which is also old, did you see that humans have refocused efforts on trying to get out of the atmosphere, colonizing Mars of all things? I thought they had surrendered some of those efforts, for it had been a while since the moon landing. They really are determined to prove the significance above all other animals and life forms here. Did you hear that after 15 years of debate, the Geology Society once again rejected the Anthropocene as Earth's new epoch?
Well, they really want that one, don't they? A new epoch. Humans can't get enough of the new. Bradotti mentions this. She calls it a totally schizophrenic double pull. The contemporary society is fascinated to the point of obsession by all that is new. New technologies, new economies, new lifestyles, new generations of both human and technological gadgets, new wars and new weapons, with the complete social rejection of change and transformation.
Ha! Gaia would balk at the attempt. Such an arrogant human self-centeredness. The Anthropocene is an event, not an epoch. Despite the intelligence, apparent ability to peer into the depths of cosmic origins and life's organization, they're dispensable to the global life form. What is that Lynn Margulies used to call them?
Ah, yes. Upright mammalian weeds. But returning to silk, all that kerfuffle about rationing silk during the war, it's sad because I tell you what, I was looking forward to the reuse of those silk parachutes. I was so hopeful for some fun to be had when they brought them out for a second war. I hope they wouldn't notice all the nibbles and holes created by the mini beasts that fed on that fibroin. It's a shame they did, though. I think it may have changed things significantly. I do recall what you helped them achieve in the 30s. Who was it? Those humans at DuPont and that synthesis of the polyethylene terephthalate?
Yes, polyester. It really changed things, didn't it? Plastics and preservation of things that decay.
Oh, I see you've successfully gotten those microplastics across the placental barrier. Well done. No longer just fashion to shape the body anymore. You've gotten inside it. But do you think we've gone too far? If they become plastic and immortalize themselves through digitization and silicon, through digital fashion that isn't made of anything other than electricity and giant warehouses of data processors, how will we keep our cycles going? I do feel for them on some level. More and more are embracing me when I come for them, exhausted.
The fatigue. What was it Bradotti said? They seem to be exhausted with everything, with democracy, with radicalism, with anarchism, with media, with high culture, low culture, with leadership, with lack of leadership. The fatigue. What is wrong with them that they are so tired that they cannot imagine a sustainable future?
Well, maybe you're onto something with this couture vivant. Maybe fashion. Maybe the Mad Silkworm Lady can help save them after all. Let's continue to do what you say.
Well, the road to creativity passes so close to the madhouse and often detours or ends there.
Maybe they all have inherited a piece of mother, of caducity, and are becoming more senile as they age.
Haven't we all?